Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Stella, and today we will do another channeling. Today we will do the question, we will ask spirits about who were you in your previous life, who were you in your past life. And I decided to do this as a channeling because it's easier for me to get the messages. However, you can still choose your pile or piles, and we will also do the astralize. So please, if you're sensitive to noise, lower the volume. And without further ado, let's get into your reading. See you at your pile. Bye. Hello, my pile number one. Welcome to your reading about the question who were you in your past life? And I will now do the channeling part, and the cards we will do later. I'm already getting messages, so I'm sorry if I'm not talking too fluently at the moment. Let me get your messages. I see Egypt in your case. And please remember, we had a lot of previous lives, so this is not the only one you had, and maybe this life won't be the last life you have. So this is one of many lives that is influencing you today. And I see you in Egypt. I see the pyramids. I see the Egyptian art. So spirit is telling me that you were lived in this exact time frame, which is, as you know, thousands of years, or I don't know. It's a huge time span, if I can say it like this, where you could have lived in old Egypt, but you lived to the time, I think, about more or less Cleopatra, so 100 plus 100 minus 100 or plus 100 years. And I get you as a male. You were a worker, and I don't know whether you were a slave or a very simple person. You had a family. I see you with a wife. She's pregnant. I see two other children. One of those was a boy, and the other one was, in some cases, a boy, in some cases, a girl. So at the end, you had three children. And what I get, however, is that you worked really hard, and one day there was kind of a catastrophe. It was nature, it was something happened, and a storm or something. It was very bad. It seemed like, in the Bible there is written something about the seven sins. It's not exactly this, but it goes in this direction. So there was a horrible situation for all of you that were watching this pile one, and I feel you extremely afraid, anxious. I feel that you are trying to flee the situation. You're trying to leave the place you lived, and you're trying to leave it with your family, with your children, with your wife. And now I get the connections to refugees of today. So you were in the situation, or maybe you were even in this life in the situation of being a refugee. And in this case, it was particularly because of the weather and because of famine, because this weather destroyed all of uh, of your harvest. So you had more or less nothing to eat and nothing left to live, and you had to leave the place. You had to leave back other people and friends, family members like grandma, grandpa, elderly people. And it was extremely traumatizing for you and for your family as well, for everyone connected to this happening. It was a very difficult situation. Also, so in this case, there was no difference between rich or poor people. You were all refugees, and you all tried to escape this catastrophe. And I feel you extremely consumed. I see you also extremely consumed. I see you always awake, more or less, by night, by day. You're always running and running and running. And at the beginning, you don't really know where to start or where to go. Because if you just have to leave, in which direction you want to go, sometimes there is not even time to think about the tomorrow and to think about your options. You just have to leave in this moment. And this life is still influencing you today, because in some cases you're quite anxious. Maybe you are someone that has a high insurance. Maybe you're someone that is really careful when driving. So you have a particular connection to fear and to anxiety. And it's not just because all of everything else, of all your traumas of this life and all of your previous life stories, that all is summing up. But one of the main reasons, because you have an anxious personality type, is because of this situation. This imprinted extremely strong in you, and it you were reborn and reborn and reborn with this fear. And it's of course an extremely important fear. It makes sense. And it's a kind of fear that's deeply rooted in us. So this lack of security, it's the main fear you have. Lack of security wherever you are. If this is not resonating for you, then this is the wrong pile for you. Some of you were able to flee, some of you were not. Some of you who weren't able died, I think, in the water or something. It was extremely tragic. It was a horrible situation. And others of you were able to flee. But I feel that there was kind of there was a group that was building itself up from various there were various people who weren't connected before, but then they started to build this group, and through this group you were able to survive. Because there the place you went, there were people you needed. You relied on them to get food, to get sleep. You needed them to survive. And some people of your group had already connections to these people, so they were like a bridge. And some of you died because of one of those bridge people, if I let me pronounce it like this. Because not every one of these bridge people was kind. Some of them wanted a lot of money, some of them wanted a lot of cattle, I think you say, and some of them asked for other services in return, and you were just not always able to give this. So there was this deep fear rooted in you. And it's important for you to somehow connect yourself with water and with the feeling of fear, and ask water and spirit to wash this fear away. And now let me get into your personality. What kind of personality did you have? You were quite pretty, quite handsome. You were stubborn, and I feel a lot of fire. Let me now get the dice for your personality type. Please lower the volume if you're sensitive to noises. Okay, the first house. Yeah, stubborn, Taurus. People could see your stubbornness. from miles away, and Neptune. So you your energy was stubborn, was not slow, but it was stern, and at the same time it was also so magical and dreamy. It was very specific, and it was well perceived by people. You had a lot of admirer, and you were never able, however, to live your dreams because you had to flee, you had to work all of your life. And it's also another thing that you brought into this life, the absence of self um, actualization. If I don't know if I can say pronounce it like this. Let me get now into your card. Health. With Egyptian people. And equanimity. Yeah, this is another point. I think I got this card more for the picture than for the word health, but the equanimity um, tells me that you you were all refugees, but still when you were refugees there were different classes, and also this influenced you a lot. So it could be that this life you will be faced with this topic again, you will be confronted with this topic again, um, and also with the topic of equity, of with different social topics that are all surrounded that all surround the issue about being the same, and not just writing it on an Instagram post or on a post on social media, but really working towards a future where everyone has the same rights. Human rights is a big word here. Human rights, everything that has to do with refugees, everything that has to do with famine, everything that has to do with fear, and water. Water is too a big point. So I hope this reading helped you in some way. And if it did, please consider to give it a like and to subscribe for other readings. And I wish you all the best. Bye. Hi, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. Let me, first of all, you had, as every other pile, every person of this planet, every animal of this planet, you had many previous lives, and you will have maybe also other lives. So this lifetime we will see today does influence you today, and it's just here to give you a little bit of help, a little bit of insight, and maybe something is familiar to you and you can react in a different way. Let me now get the information for you. Okay, in your case, I see a life where you were a slave and you were fleeing the railroad, the how it is called in America, the Underground Railroad, to the north. Some of you were men, some of you were women, and it was a little bit before the time of Harriet Tubman, just so you get the feeling. And this is like really strange, and I never thought that I would say this and that this is even possible, but a part of your soul is still in one of these underground places where you seek refuge. So not your whole soul was able to get into the light. There is a part of you that somehow your soul split it. That's so strange. And you decided to, for 50%, you decided to stay because there is something that's still open. And the other half of your soul decided to move on. But now you're still on both timelines, and there is still this open work you have to do. Oh my god, this is so specific. If you don't resonate with this, please listen to another pile or to another video, because it's a general reading. And so it could also be that this is just not made for you in this moment. But I see also hounds, hellhounds, demonic entities, a lot of spiritual entities, ghosts, all kind of beings surrounding all those slaves. And I feel a heavy negative energy. And there in the middle is Hecate. I have a reading of her if you're interested, but just if you feel called to listen to it, listen to it, and if not, don't bother. But she took this pain of those people, but only of those people who wanted help from the divine. And she took this pain and tried to convert it into rage and into a kind of wish for a better future. So she somehow changed the energy of the pain to elevate humanity, because as we know, the time of slavery, that's that was that's highly that was a horrible time, a horrific time, not only for slaves themselves but for humanity itself. And it was one of the main works to overcome this. Still, as you know, there is modern slavery, we have still issues, but in this case we are talking about the United States. I mean, let's call them United States. And about you trying to escape slavery and dying in the Underground Railroad. And I feel that in this group, most of you died. A few of you were able to reach the north, but most of you died in this particular place, or in one particular place. And you went into a trap. Oh, that's bitter. You went into a trap, and from what I see, there were whole families entering this trap. And I'm sorry, I should have put a trigger warning on this one. And what I see is huge violence. It's horrific. It's very dark, and I'm talking about the energy and not just the place. The place is dark too because it's under the ground, but it's not the absence of sunlight that makes this place so dark. There is so much pain, there is so much suffering, there is so much violence towards the slaves, and most of them died in horrific conditions. And from what I get now, Spirit is telling me there is a church over this place. They just put a church over this grave, because it and the whole thing ended as a mass grave. And people are still entering this place. It's a very white community. I'm sorry to be this blunt, but it's a very old-fashioned racist community, with the wish to bring old times back, and they are still praying in this church. Most of them know what's underneath it, and they keep it as a secret, and they don't want to make a funeral for this, for their remainings. So I think a funeral for all those deaf those deaf people would help the part of your soul to move on. But what you can do is, spirit is telling me, if you know about those places, because there's not just one, there are two, three, and you go into this church, you will feel immediately if it was your place, because your soul parts will find each other. Your souls um, will find itself, and will immediately connect, and you will feel extreme immense of pain. But I'm talking about emotional pain. And some of you might have a physical situation. Maybe you're sweating a lot. There is something odd going on in this moment. And in the moment you understand that you are actually in this place where the other part of your soul is, spirit is telling me, no matter your religion or your belief, um, tell this part of your soul to move, and pray. If praying is helping you, pray to God, to Yahweh, to source, to help this part of your soul to let go and to come back to yourself. You need to know, if you will do this, later you will have it could be that you will have memories. So you need to know whether you want to do this or not. And some of you will go to therapy, but actually you can't really tell in therapy or talk in therapy about these things. But it's influencing you today still, because some of you are extremely connected to the topic of human rights. Like the first pile, there was also something with human rights, and others of you will start connecting with this topic. So some of you of this pile are extremely political people, and some of you are also ascendants from slaves. And if you are, then, and if you feel that this resonates with you, ask them to guide you. And if you are you don't know whether you have or had slaves in your line, ask spirit to show you, ask them to help you to find this out. And if you are in this church and if you're praying, you can also pray for all the other souls, because there are many souls underneath the church, and they all need to be able to see a light, and they are just not. Okay, now spirit is telling me to go on and to talk about your personality, which is kind of difficult, because your personality was hidden behind a mask of pure friendliness and pure submission, because you had no possibility of speaking your truth. So some of you were poets, or you wanted to be poets. You had an artistic mind. And some of you were actually good workers, and you were so good because you were artistic, and working in fields and being artistic is not as separate as we think it might be. So some of you were extremely capable with your hands. You had you were able to create the most beautiful things. Some of you were hot tempted. Some of you were relaxed. There are different kind of personalities. Let me now get the astral rise to see a little bit more, and please lower the volume if you're sensitive to noise. Aquarius. Aquarius is like kind of there is similar to Sagittarius when it comes to ideology, and if they have an idea, they won't step back. Fourth house is Cancer, I think, or is it already Gemini? Let me think. No, it's Cancer. So you had brilliant ideas when it came, and a huge sense for justice when it came to everything related to family and friends, and people saw this. So you were maybe one of the first slaves to be okay with the idea of escaping, and you became one of the louder ones, and actually this could have cost your life, but from what I get, this was also meant so. And in the other world, you are extremely appreciated for being this strong, and of course they don't see things as drastic as we do, because they know it's never stopping, it's never ending. So for them it is an experience, but it's not as extreme as it is for us on this planet. Okay, let me now see your cards. Last. Okay, we need to cover this up. And gratitude. Yes, this is... some of you had children and you made them while you were escaping. But some of you, it's darker. Some of you were victims of lust of somebody else. You had to show if you're a woman especially, but sometimes also men, but you had to show your gratitude through physical activities, and you had to be here for people that were lustful, that wanted you. And to be honest, in this channeling, these two cards have a bad vibe, and because it's connected to pain, and as much lust we can have and we experience, but in this case I feel it was abused, and you had to go through the lust of somebody else, which is of course unfortunately common if you are in this situation and you need to get out of it. Okay, this was everything. I hope that this reading helped you. If it did, please consider to like and to subscribe, and we will see us the next time. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. Let me just start about talking about the cards. We will first do the channeling, and then we will get into your cards. Please don't forget, we all had a lot of previous life, and we will maybe have also lives after this life. So this life I'm going to channel is one of many, and in some way it's affecting your life now. The other 2 piles were extremely intense, and I'm in this pile I need to feel a little bit more the energy because it's quite different. Okay, I see a farmer and I see apples. Okay, in your case, you were part of a family with farmers with apples and vegetable and fruits, and I see you located in Europe, and this is a life that's kind of let's say normal. It's not the most extreme life, but there were several little things happening that were hurting you, or that that are still influencing you today. And for some reason, the first thing I get is cold and wet. So you were thrown into you had to sleep with the animals when you were a little kid, and you didn't do what your parents wanted. I see parental abuse, I see violence, um, and I see a little child. For some, it's a little boy, for some, a little girl. That, but I think you were a child, a boy. I see this little boy not being able to express himself or also herself. It depends with what you resonate. If you don't resonate with this pile, maybe you resonate with another pile, or it's just not your reading today. But it's a general one, so always use your discernment. But in your case, it's about your voice and your throat chakra. And actually, I have no problems talking. Um, they took your voice many times, and you were actually quite a sensitive child. You were a well-behaved child, but you had to endure the moods of your mood changes of your parents, of both of them, not just men, not just women, of mom and dad, and also of other elderly people and elderly siblings. So when you try to talk, people were talking over you. You were treated like a pushover. And what I also feel is that some of your siblings were jealous because animals loved you. You did not hurt animals, and I think you weren't really eating meat. Fish was not even an issue at this time because nobody really ate this. But you were different as child in this time, and you were extremely sensitive, and even nowadays spirit is telling me you would have your struggles, and people were thinking that you were um, cognitive behind something, but actually you were not. You were extremely smart, and you were also, you could have had a bright future, and some of you became doctors, I get, some of you even priests, and some of you, however, you were just not able to express yourself, and you tried and you tried and you tried. This is this group that was that's the autistic group. That's the group that even more needs to express themselves, but you were not able. Nobody let you. So I see that some of you ended up with alcohol problem, drinking problems, other addictions, and you were your whole life you felt unseen and restless because you never, to know where you want to go in life, you need first you need to be able to express yourself and to get feedback to understand where you want to go in life, and you never were able to do the first step, to talk. And so I see years of problems, of addiction problems, and some of you, when you were elderly people, you were able to overcome this, and you were able to understand what you actually want from life. And that's not being a farmer, but a lot of you wanted to study something, wanted to learn. You wanted education, and now, if I'm talking about the education at this day, you would laugh, but it was high education at this time. Learning to read, learning to write, learning to count, to do maths as a little bit more than just simple math from 0 to 9 and plus only. So I see a lot of you were extremely interested into plants and animals, and you wanted to understand if they are able to perceive and if they are able to express themselves. So when it comes to you, it's all about communication. And Spirit is telling me that the life you had is reflecting on the life you have now. Because some of you, or most of you, had a similar situation when you were a child. You were not really able to talk. And from what I get, it's not in all cases the parents' fault, but you had like mobbing at school, and different people, various people, teachers, for a lot of you, that did not allow you to talk, that behaved as if you were stupid. And some of you were so sensitive that you stopped with private project like learning an instrument, because if you were criticized, you were already too afraid to express yourself, to go on with expressing yourself. Self-expression is a huge topic in your life, and it will also be a huge topic in other lives. And Spirit's telling me not only the previous life I was seeing, self-expression was a huge topic even before. It's like the red line in your life that's in every lifetime, always the self-expression. And Spirit is telling me you need to start to express yourself, no matter what somebody else says. If you want to paint, then paint. If you want to play the flute, then play the flute. It does not matter how old you are. You need to express yourself to be heard by yourself. Because always thinking the thoughts is not the same as saying it out loud, as writing it down, as playing it on an instrument, as painting it on a canvas. So self-expression is your main topic and your main focus in this life and also in next lives. Because from what I get is that most of you will decide to reincarnate, even if nobody of us seems to wish this. But on the other side, things are strange and nothing is this bad. But you need to start making art, making music, and following your heart. And there are many different things in this group that people want to do them. And as I said, no matter the age, no matter your level, it does not count. What counts is the now. And the now tells you, I want to hear you. And now let me see what's important for you. Now, in the other groups, I used the astro dice to get the personality. But now I'm using it to just see whether there is something for you that's important, or people for you that are important. And if you're sensitive to noise, please lower the volume. Let me see now. This the group 3. First house again. Then this is Mercury. Yeah, or is this Venus? No, Mercury and Pisces. Oh, this is actually not a personality I'm getting. This is um, Pisces is art. I mean, I can tell you there's nothing more artistic than Pisces. I'm sorry for everyone else. Please don't tell the other zodiac signs. But Pisces is the one sign that's able to connect both worlds in the most not understanding way possible and still make it a perfect symphony. And this is just telling me that Pisces and Mercury, I mean, Mercury is all about communication and organization. It rules Virgo. Virgo is the dependent from Pisces. So somehow there is a kind of connection. And from what I get is that this is Spirit is telling you, be creative as much as you want and make yourself a plan and stick to this plan. And for this, and just because a lot of you are hard workers and you don't really take time off, so you need to treat your wish of self-expression like a task. And in the moment you're treating this as a work task, you will start with this, and then it will become easier and easier, and you will get the flow. And the first house in this case is the first house is the house of Aries. It's all about yourself, and you need to start to be all about yourself, because a lot of you are living for other people, and it's enough now. You need to express yourself. Now let me get your cards. Harmony. Yeah, I can do this like this. And centering. Yes, this is perfect. Um, with harmony, you only can get harmony and balance, which is centering, because you need to get back in balance. You only get this when you're able to express yourself, because you're out of balance, and your soul needs you to listen to it, and your soul needs to be able to talk at the same time. And all this self-expression you're not just doing for people to hear you and to listen to you, but you're doing this for yourself to listen. And the moment you're able to listen to yourself, and you will listen to yourself, is also the moment other people will start recognizing it, and you're able to connect with other people on a different level and on a different way. And a lot of you, most of you, will be able, if you really do start with self-expression, no matter your age. That's important, says Spirit, no matter your age. You will get rewarded also in this lifetime by Spirit. Maybe there will be a project or something that goes so well for you, and you never expected this, that you get emotional, because I'm getting now emotional for you. And it will go so well because it's important for you to understand that this is the result of your doing the work for yourself. And with this, I will end this reading. I really hope that it helped you. If it did, please consider to like and to subscribe, and we will see us the next time. Bye.